Go!
Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. Again, Peter Obi tears Nigerian's economy. Leadership into pitiable pieces. Again, Peter Obi tears Nigerian's economy. Leadership into pitiable pieces. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi is in his element again. He is back into the mood that make many of his followers worship him as he shreds Nigerians' economy and leadership. Given a biting analysis on the state of the nation on Monday, Obi carpeted the economy as an unproductive one and the leadership of the country as lazy and parasitic. One that is always sharing and not producing. Besides, he said workers spend 100% of their earnings on food. This is a country of 200 million people sitting on 923,000 square kilometers of land. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot export anything. Total Nigerians export, including oil, is under $2 billion for 200 million population. Obi said this when he met with the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress who pledged to support his candidature. Obi said his visit to the leadership of the two Labour centers was not to campaign but for a courtesy call to honor the organized labor on whose party and interest he was seeking Nigerian vote in the 2023 general elections. My commitment is to move Nigeria from consumption to production, and you cannot talk about production without labor. Labor is the engine of production. Capital and machine can do anything, but labor is what makes it work. Because labor is the greatest contributor to production, it has to be properly remunerated. I do not need to tell you how bad things are in this country today. If you are on wages, today Nigerians spend 100% of their wages on feeding. So many don't even know where their next meal will come from. They pay to train their children only for them to finish school and stay at home without work, he said. Obi said that these were issues that needed to be discussed. Nobody can be president without sitting down with labor organizations to decide the future of Nigeria. He said that Nigerians would no longer have a situation where the leaders would be here and workers would be there. They must sit on the same table and talk. According to him, that is the beginning of the solution. That is what is happening all over the world. Nigeria is not a producing country. The collective effect of what we are suffering today is bad leadership. We have a leadership that concentrates on sharing. So you have to move from sharing formula to production formula. This is a country of 200 million people sitting on 923,000 square kilometers of land. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot export anything. Total Nigerians export including oil is under $2 billion for 200 million population. A similar country, not a first world country, one with the same trajectory with Nigeria in the year 2000, Vietnam sitting on 331,000 square kilometers of land, a third of Nigerian's land space and 100 million population. With half of Nigerian's population, their total earnings last year was $312 billion, he said. Obi, however, noted that more than half of the country's youth of productive age were unemployed, adding this is what the Labour Party is seeking to sit down to discuss for the future of our country. He said that borrowing was not the problem of the country, as other countries were also borrowing to support their economic development drive. If you borrow for consumption, you are in problem, but if you borrow for production, you will progress. To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. And now before I go, let's move down to the comment section. The first comment here says, always playing to the gallery, what was his contribution to change the narrative in Anambra State, where he governed for 8 years? How many cottage industry did he build to cater for Anambra indigenes to provide employment? To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section and let's know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.